Afternoon, everyone. So, the agenda was a little bit mistaken. I'm not going to be presenting the whole presentation today.
Sorry, she is. No, she is.
It's going to be Frank, but in light of what's happened this morning with Control Up joining us in trying to expand the field of women in IT, especially at events like this today, I think in the past 4 events that I've been to, we have the biggest attendance of women here today, and I think there's 5 of us. So, we have some more. So in a bid to try and get a little bit more of the women in IT to come and be comfortable coming presenting in front of a crowd of people that are technical, we've decided to join up with Control Up, and from today onwards, any woman in IT joining E2EBC will be able to attend for free. So we managed to get that through today, but as far as...
wear a dress?
Well, if you wear a dress and a wig, you might get away with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Usual Saturday night.
I don't know if he gets away with it.
So I just wanted to say we're really delighted to be able to try and help that kind of community and help that grow as well a little bit, and to say thank you to Control Up for helping us in achieving that as well. So I'm going to pass over to Frank because I don't actually know what we're presenting on.
Frank is putting on his dress first.
I'm going to pass over, and I just want to say thank you to everybody for making that possible for us today.
Cool.
That's all the applause you've got to get there, Frank.
I know that. Yeah, what lies beneath the waves when you surf the web? It takes ages to come up with a title. And even with this one, we argued around it in the office for a bit. I think Lisa in particular was favourite for Cookie Monster.
It. We've gone on censoring.
But it's a big good firewall.
Not in the US.
Anyway, let's get on with things. Oh yeah, thank you to Alex. Lisa's just stole my thunder, but yeah, he took a nice picture of me, my best side. You can see. Yeah, as Lisa says, we're a double team anyway, so straight on. So, how many people are new to E2E in the audience today? 1, 2, couple? How many are new to Avanade? Okay. Some of this you might know, some of them you won't, so I'm going to go over some things fairly quickly. We're all about internet stuff and what happens when you actually access the internet. So I'm going to talk a lot about web browsing, but it's equally the same for internet apps and any sort of access. So, the user browses to a website. Although, I remember Alex yesterday with his GDPR stuff, so yeah, my user's browsing that website. Within that website, it will now start to download data to your machine. Within the web page, you might have embedded images, that sort of stuff. What that actually does is open a direct link from you to that website. So it's the same as actually browsing the site. So they can all download data to your machine. And then there are a load of hidden links that you can't see. These 1-pixel GIFs, they open connections through to a whole load of other sites. And they all write data to your machine. And at the same time, your browser's writing data as well. So all your temporary internet files, your browsing history, etc. So all that data's mounting up. Avanade, what do we do? The easiest way is to listen to our customers. So this was off one of our earlier ones, probably version 1, version 2. 30% reduction in log-on times. Profile sizes here reduced by 50%, number of cookies cut down, profile and IE support calls cut down by 70%. Yeah. There's some big numbers as well. Office Max down in Australia, they had a login time of 10 minutes. They've put our software on, they're now less than a minute. And 45 seconds of actually what remains is printer mappings. Yeah. New one that came in only last week. It's great, it cut down from 160 seconds to 40 seconds. Yeah. Profile size is reduced by 82%. We had customers whose applications didn't work in IE. They now work when they've installed us. Yeah. This one's interesting because these guys use ad blocker, but we don't need you. So they put us on. We took their cookie numbers down by another 89%. How real is the problem out there? Quick Google search, show me the top 10 business websites. Top of the list came up Yahoo, finance.yahoo.com. 75 million unique visitors a month hit the site. So browse to it, and as you can see in my history, I've got Microsoft, I've got finance.yahoo.com. So pretty brand new user. When I look at the web data itself that's stored on your machine and look at your history, it's finance.yahoo.com, and then all this other stuff could be into it as well. Okay, what about my cookies? Well, I get my Yahoo cookie, fantastic. I also get all of these. Who the heck are these from? atdmt.com, rfihub.com, ads.pubmatic.com. One cookie of these that I potentially might need, and that's it. So, talked about the data coming down to your machine. How is that data stored on the machine? Well, it's databases. There's databases across the field of the browsers. So Microsoft made a change to one of the core subsystems, WinINet, that introduced the web cache. Web cache v01.dat. Wonderful database that starts life at 32 megabytes and grows and grows. Biggest one someone's told me about is 80 gig. So you try roaming that around for your users, see what sort of problem you get. Okay. In fact, more and more is going into here. From Windows 10 1709, you no longer have cookie files on your machine. You actually probably still have the files, because guess what, it doesn't clean the old ones up. But all the new cookies are now totally stored in the database. Chrome, Firefox, they've used databases for years. They still continue to use them, but of course they use their own databases. So if you browse to a website, you're going to get a load of data. You browse to the website in Chrome, you're going to get another set of data on your machine. Why did they do it this way? Well, speed and portability. Microsoft got hammered over cookies and the index.dat files and all the rest of it, so they introduced the database. Yeah. Edge for iOS, anyone? It's portable. If I take a database, I can move it around. So I can start potentially to move my data across my devices. And of course, it's all stored in local app data. Anybody check the size of their local app data? Scary. So, what are the issues with it? Yeah, performance, obviously. Before you marry a person, first make them use a computer with slow internet. That'll tell you who they really are. I thought we'd sorted the problem with profile bloat. Isn't that something old and we fixed that now? Not anymore, it seems. Increased login times. It says, we've reduced login times by 90% just by tidying up the web data. Biggest cause of profile bloat today. Browser launch times. We tried to browse 1 million websites to see what happened. Not far into it, the browser started failing. Pages started not loading. And the general sort of web browsing, the whole launch of it, the whole user experience is degraded with more and more data that goes in there. And it's not a lot of data. Network, obviously. 9 o'clock in the morning, everyone's transferring 300, 400, 500 gigabytes of data, whatever it is. Putting a massive stress on your network. And of course your back-end disk, your SAN, etc. suffering from the big files, but also where there still are the cookie files, thousands of cookie files hit your SAN. Everyone knows, not a good thing. Interestingly enough, with people who are using Windows 10 or going from Windows 7 to Windows 10, you'll see that on Windows 10, your actual web cache for Microsoft is twice the size of that for Windows 7. Because, remember I said it made a change to your core subsystem. So all your Windows 10 apps all talk to the internet. So Cortana, Candy Crush, you name it, They all have cookies, history, temporary internet files, DOM store, all associated with it. Privacy, very hot in the news today, obviously. Remember to delete the internet history, your wife isn't that stupid. You might have heard of these guys. Yeah, this is exactly the stuff that we're talking about. Right, I woke up the other morning, switched the telly on, there's an advert for Barclays Bank. Little vegetables jumping around. Which is your favourite vegetable? Put this app on your machine, and all the time we'll steal your data from you. Yeah? As we saw, most of the cookies are from third parties. What for? I want to learn about you. I want to profile you. I want to know who you are. I want to know what your interests are. Mainly so that I can then target you with adverts. The other thing about privacy is, bear in mind, the message at the moment that's going around is all about personal data. Yeah, personal. What about the business stuff? What about your business privacy? When you look inside these caches for the web, these databases, for web data, you'll be surprised at the things you can find out about people. This is your life. It tells you everything. And within it, we've seen usernames, we've seen passwords, we've seen account numbers, you name it. Because a lot of it is down to the actual application itself and how the browser is now interpreting it, and why you get that big list of history that you don't actually see in the browser itself. So there's a load of stuff going on behind the scenes. It's not just the third parties, it is the first parties as well. I don't think I can just block these third party stuff, because actually things don't start to work. But you can visit Yahoo. Yahoo itself will put some crap on your machines. The worst ones are the news sites. Any of the news sites you get, CNN, you name it, they're terrible. Best ones are the porn sites, believe it or not.
Oh, where we'll find that.
So, your excuse next time you get caught browsing is, I'm just trying to be safe.
So it's safe porn now.
It's safe porn, absolutely. Yeah. Always wear a condom when you're browsing porn. Cookie numbers.
I have a bad joke about that.
We've had customers with over 50,000 cookie files on their machine. Bear in mind, a cookie file can house multiple cookies. It's not one per file. We took that down to a few hundred. It's just about, what do you need? Get rid of everything you don't want, everything you don't need. Keep the things that's important to you. Because some of these are good. I want them. If I go to BBC Weather and I set my location, that sets a cookie on my machine. So next time I go over there, the weather's set to my location. That's a good cookie. Somebody that tells somebody I've been browsing porn probably isn't a good cookie.
So how do you distinguish between the two?
I'll come on to it. It's not easy. The big problem here is there are no standards out there. What we do is not rocket science at the end of the day. Knowing what to do is. It took us a long time just to find out and investigate it, because these people don't want you to know about it. I think Facebook, was it first quarter of 2015, made, I think it was just short of 30 billion. 96.7% of that was down to advertising. There's some big players in the field. Sorry?
Targeted advertising because of the cookies.
It's targeted advertising, it is.
So it works.
You know, I mean, you've heard about obviously what's going on here and how it affected the election in the US. We saw it in the UK. When we had the elections in the UK, the Conservative Party used targeted advertising to specifically target you in this area. This is what you're important to. This is the message we're sending to you. Cookie hijacking. Anybody heard of this? Yeah? So how many people, when they go to a website and it says, do you want to remember your password? Tick the box.
No.
Right? This is not the browser, this is the website we're talking about. So what happens there is it puts a cookie on your machine when you tick the box. The cookie does not have your username and password in it. What it does is tell the website you don't want to be authenticated. And because the cookie has a specific ID in it, it knows who you are. So if I take your cookie and I put it on my machine, I'll be you. I'm you. I don't need to know your username and password. There's a lot of stuff around this. One of the big news items was around bitcoins. And people were pinching people's bitcoins to put on their machine. And as the bitcoins were paid out, it was going into their wallet instead. Really big problems. Version 4, right, we're on version 4 of our software. I'm not going to dwell too much on 1, 2, 3. I'll touch on it a little bit, but what have we done new? The only enterprise software to deal with data, that's a double-edged sword. We are the only ones that do this, which is great, because people have to come to you. It's crap, because nobody knows you. And actually, nobody really knows the problem. There's a lot of people out there that know they've got a problem, but they don't know what it is. So, we still configured by group policy. It's dead simple, a lot of options in there. Things like whitelist and blacklist. I only want to keep this data. I never want to keep data for this site. Yeah? Targeted on third parties. Targeted on the marketing, tracking, advertising cookies. Because quite rightly, how do you know which is which? So hence a load of our research today. Just tick the box, we'll get rid of them. But I will come back to how you identify them. We do support all the Windows browsers, so we are IE, we are Edge, we are Firefox, and we are Chrome. Anyone use Opera? Good. Anybody use anything else in business on Windows?
On Windows.
On Windows. For now, we're talking Windows. I say for now. Yeah? And it complements already profile management solutions. I don't care what you use. I don't do what profile management does. Profile management captures your data and restores it. I work on the data before it captures it. Even roaming profiles, remember I said it's actually stored in local app data? Microsoft did get a bashing over this, because Microsoft don't necessarily want you to roam now. It's all about Surface Book, Cloud, Azure, Office 365. Business isn't ready for that.
One question. There are other cookies like the magic cookie or the flash cookie.
Yeah.
The infamous flash cookie. So are you addressing this too?
Not in this version, but yes is the answer. So you can guess what's in the next version.
Okay.
Yes, but we're addressing flash cookies because we are looking at, if we can now look at the fact that they're in databases and you do get Edge for iOS and what have you. Flash cookies, a lot more are used on mobile devices today rather than on the desktop, though they are coming in. Good question. If you go and see Control Up, guys, it might be different. Yeah, Microsoft got beat up over it, so they wrote a fix. So if you use roaming profiles and you delete cached copies of your roaming profiles, you can roam your cookies. You can't roam your history map, but you can roam your cookies. The solution? Well, we create the old cookie files and the old index.dats. So it reads the database, and at log off it creates them all. And then when you log back on, it transfers them all back in, and then reads it back into the web cache. Great solution. Simplified evaluation. The main reason for this is not that the product's difficult. And I've got a video put on the end, we've got time that shows you it. It's because people don't understand it. So they're putting it on, they're getting results, but they can't interpret it properly. So we've tried to simplify it even further for you. So out of the box, you don't need the ADMX. You can have an out-box configuration on that. Install it, you get your 14-day trial license. That's it. That's all you need to do. We've always had, we've also got the service now. So previously, we just was executable, you called it, we did what we did. You now have the option to continue doing that, or you've got a Windows service. Main reason we introduced the service is because we now have cloud reporting. So we've now got proper reporting into the product
With
itself.
cookies on it.
No, not from my website. It's actually very interesting because we're just redoing our website and trying to get a website that doesn't delete this crap isn't easy. It doesn't deliver this crap down. It isn't easy because all the plugins have them. But we do have cloud reporting. So your next screen when you said yes, I want to evaluate and want to report is give me your email address. That's all I need. That sets you up automatically with a login to Azure. You'll get emailed the password, that's it. You log in, you'll see your data. And an audit only period so that you can install us and we'll do nothing. So we can give you a true before and after. Otherwise, it just looks great. So, here's an example. So here's login time. So this is just, at the moment, web browsing. So every day, I'm browsing the web. The orange one is my longest, the middle one is average, and the light grey, I'm sure if you can see, is the shortest login time. Now we're doing nothing and it's one user, so it's the same every time. We're in an audit-only mode. And the login time's going up. This is 80 seconds, down to 0. This is what we do kick in. So this was the login. We worked at log off. Your login time is now here. Where is the data coming from? People want to know what is the sites that I'm hitting. So we're going to tell you. And we'll tell you if they're, first party, we'll tell you if they're third party. We'll also tell you which ones we've removed, which ones we haven't, what we've operated on, etc. A lot of people are using this to actually feed into their proxy solution, or their DNS solution, whatever it might be. Bear in mind, some of them will deliver you out data you do well. So don't block it, use us.
You guys do some sort of filtering where you say why you remove something?
Yes,
Like
so we can give you that. That's more in the, rather than here, that's the local reporting, which is actually a bit more detailed. So we do still report locally, down to the event log or down to a file on the machine itself, so you can gather it straight from there. Web standards, well you're busy trying to comply with changing them. There are none. How do you define what is a cookie and what's not? The only way you can really do it is to look inside the cookie and look at something that's called a cookie type. So when you get your cookie name, you'll have name, underscore, something. The bit after the underscore tells you pretty much what it is. So if it's underscore GA, it's a Google Analytics cookie. But trying to identify what's a tracking cookie, what's an advertising cookie, what's a password cookie, there's nothing there. So we're going to go and pump the information out.
How much of this information do you guys keep?
How much do we keep? We share as much as we can.
It's not just GDPR.
We share as much as we can because, I said, nobody knows about it, so I have to tell you about it. Yeah. I don't give you the full list of all the work that I've done here, but you do get it as part of the product. Yeah. And we'll work with you because you can add your own cookie types in.
Do you store, if we all have a cloud reporting database, do you store?
We do. Where we're going towards is more getting it to learn itself. Yeah, and that's where this sort of stuff will come into.
Now
Yeah,
it's just a guy.
Okay? Now it's just us that's gone around and built the list and
One guy.
but trying to get something to learn when there's no standards is the team.
But now with the new rules, if I would say I have my data in your cloud reporting and I want to be removed, is that
You can reset it yourself. You can either remove it yourself.
Okay.
If you want to
Yeah.
remove that
It's
data.
just things that you know.
Yeah.
So when I say it's configured by group policy, if you wanted to remove Google Analytics, you've got a list where you put GA in there, and it will remove them.
No, we get more in when we're doing the reporting and then
And if you want to take everything that you uploaded out of your system,
you know, if
the
somebody
GDPR, we
Yeah.
have running
Raise it.
Yeah.
The info you get out of
If
your
you remove it
product.
yourself, you can just remove it.
When we get a lot of this, if because I do want to see the data, but I want to see the data to learn from it.
Yeah.
So my view of your data, I can show you, is totally anonymised. I get nothing at all about it. Who did what, where did, or anything. I'm not interested. I want to know what's going on, but not who did it.
You went to that side and said that.
I don't think anybody knows that he got 40 street news at Port.
Then Lisa calls me.
Your disk savings and your number of files. So the generic stuff that you're going to need to actually prove that things working for what it's doing for you. Right, where are we going to? New community affiliate program. John, Bob, call it whatever you like. Get involved. This is new stuff. And I know it's new stuff because a lot of people, when we first talk, even at E2E with the experts, don't know about it. Right? We want to share the love. So, come along, as it says, believe that children are our future, and that terrifies me. Right? It is changing. I mean, GDPR is having an effect, but not to the extent that you actually need. Right? There's no such thing as a free app. As it says here, if you're not paying for it, you're not the customer, you're the product that's being sold. It's true. Right. So we are looking for people who want to know more. Get involved, we'll get you in, we'll show you the roadmap, we'll want your feedback into the roadmap, we'll get together, search for it. And as it says, with your friends, keep a couple of uglies around so you look better. So, if you want to know, just come and talk to us, let's get you signed up, let's get you a bit more into it. We're also introducing a new referral program. Money, yeah, whatever. We do have a new website that's being designed, and the main reason is because the current one is crap. Okay?
That's all.
So, there you go. Let us know if you want to join the program. We will give you a unique code. All you need to do is give that to the person who's downloading it. If they download it and they buy it, we'll give you 10% of the deal. You guys are consultants, you're out there making money. I'm not bribing you or anything, but this is genuinely going to help your customers. Your promoters, great. Also, is everybody going to E2E New York? People not know yet.
That depends if you give another 100% discount.
Yeah.
Well, strangely enough, download the software, do an evaluation of it, send it us. We'll give someone an E2E New York ticket, free charge.
So you don't have to wear a dress, Rob?
With flights, hotel.
I didn't say that.
Oh,
But, you know,
On Twitter now.
it's about the time we need the feedback. We're driving a lot of this because there's not a lot of information out there. Also, if you do go to the website, right on the front page, it says download our analysis tool. Right? You don't even have to put your name in. I don't want to know who you are. It's free and it's standalone. So run it on your machine. Show me your report after. Alright, it runs, it tells you what's on your machine today and what would be on your machine basically after you've run our default configuration. This came from Keith Turnbull. People may or may not know who's ex-VP of Development. He's now one of our non-exec directors. So you got nearly 1.5 gig of web data that will take down to 20 odd meg. His cookies were just short of 9,000, we'd take down to 373. Interestingly enough, he implemented our software on his laptop. No roaming profiles, just his standard laptop. His login time went down by 50% on his laptop. Because the Microsoft web cache is loaded when you connect in. It's loaded at login time. So even on a standard laptop, you're seeing performance benefits, let alone all the privacy benefits. If anybody wants a copy on their machine, give me a shout, give you a license. And just back to that again. If anyone wants to see it, I've got a video. I can put it up now. I'm not sure how we're doing for time or what have you. Or if people want to go to lunch, just shout me. See it.
When are you releasing a consumer version?
I've asked about this before.
I think it could do well in the current
I'm a
market.
little bit more concerned about why you're asking, Tom. What are you trying to hide?
I simply want to say I don't want to have Facebook tracking every site I go to.
No, it's a good question. It's a very good question.
It's a British company.
The one reason we've backed off from a consumer version so far is because the stuff that I'm playing with is the stuff forensics play with. Yeah? This is the stuff the police look at to find out what's going on. I don't really want to move some bad stuff from people's machines. So it's how do you remove the important stuff, the Facebook stuff, anything banking may put down that you don't want on your machine, but protect this other side of it, because I want paedophiles caught. I don't want them on the streets. So there's that side of it as well. We are talking consumer and we are talking about consumer version. It's just how we do it. You can use it today as a consumer, but we don't sell it as a consumer version yet. That's it. Any questions? It is dead easy. It's 10 minutes to get up and running, if that.
On the configuration part, you now do it through blue policy, you have to blacklist and whitelist what you want to keep.
You don't have to. So there's various options in there. So you can easily say get rid of all third parties as an example. Or get rid of any data which hasn't been accessed in the last 5 days, 10 days, whatever you want. What a lot of people are doing is they are using the whitelist and the blacklist when they have apps that don't work. So if I've got an app that doesn't work, I blacklist it. That gets rid of the data from it, and all of a sudden they start working. Also, the people that are taking the time say, right, these are my business applications, these are my web apps which are important to me, these are my websites that are important to me. I'm going to whitelist them. I always want to keep the data. We've even had people who are, because we're now in control, temporary internet files are not black and white. So I can say keep temporary internet files for this app or for this app. So for the business apps, they're still, some of them are still keeping them, just to keep the browsing as fast as possible.
And are you thinking about maybe like integrating with some proxy vendors for URL categorization or policies like that?
We've spoken about it, and it's the same thing. It depends on why the URL is blocked, obviously. You know, some is different malware that's not necessarily web data related. But yes, that's all going to feed into it. It's all part of this AI stuff. So any information we can get as to what's good, what's bad, we'll try and put in as defaults as much as possible. Because finding out the information is so hard. It's not to take consulting away from you guys, you know, by all means. Hence the get involved part. A lot of people, just finish on this question, is I'm going to put my whitelist of my business apps, and then the rest of the stuff, I'm just going to put a really short time period on, say 2 days. If in 2 days you haven't accessed it, delete it. We found a lot of them doing that. That's more for the personal stuff that goes around there.
I've got a question. So for consumers, you have tools like CCleaner for intelligent cookie searching and cleaning it up.
Yep.
How does that relate to what you guys do?
CCleaner cleans your database essentially.
It also goes into the new way of putting cookies in databases?
In what way?
So you
Last time I looked at it, it didn't.
Okay.
Because the problem is these files are all locked. So if you're running it on your system, your database is locked anyway. There's not a lot you can do at that stage. Right? We can actually take off all the locks, but the problem is the system's using it. If I look in these databases, I can see your UNC paths. I can see the files you've opened, because Explorer is so integrated in. So anything you're doing at those stages, you've got to be very careful of. Yeah? But it's the rules that define it, it's how you're doing it. It's then, what do you then do with the database? So, you know, to bring that database down in size, you need a bit of work then on it. So, I don't know is the honest answer of what they do today. I know they never looked at this. There's a bit of integration with the other browsers, but not to the same extent. You know, I think that what they're doing is slightly different. Like I said before, our customer with AdBlock on, we still took another 89% of their cookies down. It's not just about ads, and it's about what you get defined. This is also configured centrally. It's an enterprise solution. But yeah.
Good.
Questions?
Cool. Download it, have a play, come around, give us a chat. Say, if you want to sign up to any of them, all of them, whatever it is, let's build something, because it is new and it is exciting. Thank you.